So in this part of the course, we're going to talk about aperture in this lens. Now, obviously a lot of you will have kit lenses on your camera, and I want you to be able to shoot the photos correctly with the camera that you've got, not thinking I need other lenses, I need other bits of equipment. So to explain this lens a little bit more, with the 18mm, we're allowed to shoot an aperture of f3.5. So that means if I focus on Sandy's face here, it'll probably mean that her nose and her eyes will be in focus, and the rest of her body will start to fall off focus and the background will be out of focus. When I move around to 55mm, what happens is to make this lens work the most efficient way it can, it closes the aperture down to 5.6, which means that I can still get a good shot where I get the background out of focus, mainly because the background is so far away. But also what it just means is now that Sandy's entire face and most of her body will be in relatively good focus. So it means the depth of the image, or depth of field, is much larger at an aperture of 5.6 compared to f3.5. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you the two different shots just so you can see in real life what the difference is with these shots. Now I've purposely put Sandy on this bench here, the sun's up in front of us here, hence why I've got my glasses on so I'm not squinting. And the whole point of this is to just show you the difference in aperture, just so you can see a good detailed background shot of what the difference is with shooting with the two apertures. I will try and move myself back a little bit more so that you get a like near on accurate photo comparison. Obviously at 18mm compared to 55mm there's going to be quite a different range, so I'm going to try and step back and get a similar type shot just so it makes sense. But you can just see that with an aperture of 3.5, Sandy's face will be in focus and the rest of her body and the rest of this bench will slowly go out of focus. At f5.6 you'll just see a little bit more of the benches in focus. We'll probably find stuff like her knees will be a bit more in focus because they're just a little bit further away from where her face is. But I'm just going to shoot the shots now to show you the two examples. To get this shot right, I'm now shooting at a shutter speed of 1/1600th of a second. Actually no, I'm going to go to 2,000th of a second. f3.5 ISO 100, straight in the middle of the lens. As we can see Sandy there, beautiful. Perfect. Now at 55mm it's obviously gone round to f5.6, so I'm going to bring the shutter down to 1,250th. I'm going to take a couple of steps back to try and get a similar perspective to what I had before. See, the whole perspective is quite different, obviously because the 18mm wide is so wide, but it just shows you the difference in how much is actually in focus there compared to not in focus when you're shooting at a different aperture. When I'm shooting at an aperture of f3.5, there's going to be so much less in focus, so it just means that Sandy's face will be in focus. Her knees, if I zoom into the photo, will probably be slightly out of focus. At f5.6, much more of Sandy's going to be in focus, but we still managed to throw the background out purely because it's so far away. One of the tips that I can offer you in this part of the course about trying to get that perspective where things look out of focus in the background is to give yourself a wider perspective of something that does have that channeling effect. In this photo here that you can see, the lines that this background has given us actually pull our eyes into the middle of the shot to then make Sandy stand out. An 18mm shot where it's a lot wider, we've still managed to get that shot looking great, and actually we've just incorporated a little bit more of the image. So one thing just to bear in mind, obviously I'm shooting with a model, I want to make her look as good as possible. Shooting with an 18mm wide lens, you get this really nice channeling effect, but all we want to make sure is that we're not trying to warp or distort the model. The problem with going super wide on the lens is that if I was to try and do a tight headshot like I would do with a 55mm, if I do it with an 18mm, you'll suddenly see Sandy's cheeks really come out wide and it makes her face look larger than what we need it to, and you won't want that, will you? No. So that's what I mean, when you're shooting with a model, always try and think of using probably more of a zoomed in focal length, more like a 50 and above. If you've got the lenses to go 70 to 200, then I'd maybe suggest using them. You get a truer representation on their face and make sure that you're not kind of distorting them. They're not going to look at the photos afterwards and go, you've made me look bigger than what I want to do, because that never goes down well, does it? No.